Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 1991 cult classic film Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. This is a sequel to the 1989 cult classic film Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, followed by Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, which was the 1990 to 1991 cartoon that only ran for one season. And then coming very soon we have 2020's Bill and Ted's Face the Music. So it's this film itself was awesome. Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is incredible because a lot of the movie, Bill and Ted are actually dead and they're ghosts and they're doing stuff and then they gamble with death and then like they build robots and save the world, or so we think. So who plays Death? William something plays Death. Alex Winter is back as Bill S. Preston Esquire. Ted Theodore Logan is played by Keanu Reeves himself, and the two actresses who play the princesses, whose names I can never remember, are back as well. So Wild Stallions has the four of them. They're trying to compete and battle all the bands in St. Davis, California in 1991. So Ted's dad is still threatening him with military school in Alaska, but like, you know that they're out of high school and like, you know that they didn't go to college because they're doing music. So like, why is he still threatening him with military school? It's a little weird, but whatever. This movie starts out in 2691, the year 2691. George Carlin is back as Rufus. He's teaching a music class, and his old gym teacher, whose name I don't remember, starts with a D, is hell-bent on ending the reign of Bill and Ted, and he wants his ideology to be the, basis for society that they live in now. So it's 600 years in the future, 700 years in the future, compared to 91, excuse me. It's been a very long day. My first job was great. Second job was a dumpster fire. So I'm trying to get back in the mindset because I actually watched the movie in between because my shifts were so far apart. But bear with me as I ramble and make weird faces. Okay, so the guy whose name starts with the D sends two robots, Bill and Ted robots, to kill Bill and Ted in 1991. So they take them, the robots take Bill and Ted to, after Bill and Ted propose to the princesses in this adorable dual proposal. It was so cute. I loved it. They take them to the rock formation that was featured in that Star Trek episode, and a lot of music videos take place during this rock formation in whatever desert it's in, and a lot of other film and TV shows, are featured around this rock formation. So the robots throw Bill and Ted off the rock formation. They die. They're ghosts. They are trying to, have people believe that they've been murdered by robots of them. So they possess Ted's dad and police sergeant at a briefing. They poltergeist, a seance that Missy was, doing. Missy was Ted's stepmom, and then now she's Bill's stepmom. No, reverse. Was Bill's stepmom, and now she's Ted's stepmom, but she's only like 3 years older than them, so it's still kind of very funny. What else? Deacon is mentioned, Ted's younger brother, but he's not actually shown. So Bill and Ted are dead for quite some time, like I said. They gamble with Death, who is hysterical. The character of Death is absolutely hysterical. The Reaper himself. So they have to escape Beelzebub? What's the other word for the devil? Beelzebub, I think. So they escape him. They refuse to pick a eternity in hell, kind of a thing. So like their own versions of hell are like really terrifying. This is a good example of horror because this is a comedy film, but it's comedy horror and a lot of action and adventure thrown into the mix, which is great. Remember what I said, the first Bill and Ted was like a Muppet movie? It's a prime example of it. It's always different. Love it. There's a lot of different thematic elements in this, and it's such a great example of that. The underworld scenes are so creepy and terrifying. It still gives me chills all these years later from when I was a kid and I watched this film. So good memories on that front. But then eventually they meet up with Death, and they face him in multiple games. They beat him in multiple games, like Battleship, this electronic football game, like a tabletop football game. They beat him in Twister. It's just really entertaining. Oh, Clue. It's really funny. The kid almost did in the study with the candlestick. And it was not Colonel Mully, it was Professor Plum, but whatever. So then they get back alive. After they go to heaven, right, they talk to God. I love this example of heaven is a ballroom. It's just all people from all different walks of life and all different time periods are just dressed out in this like white, purple, and lilac like colors, just having a blast. And there's these two aliens called Station who are the smartest scientists in the universe, who God like tells Bill and Ted to go find Station, to then help build, you know, the robots to face off evil Bill and evil Ted. So then Station is brought into the picture. Awesome puppetry involved with that. Station 1 and 2 run into each other to create a bigger station. Amazing puppetry and costuming on that. They're creepy, like troll-looking things. I don't know what production company did it. Was it Jim Henson Company? Or was it Stan Winston's company? I don't know, to be honest. I should know this, because they're amazing creatures. So then they all raid a hardware store after Bill and Ted get back alive. Station creates Robot Bill and creates Robot Ted to face off Evil Bill and Evil Ted at the Battle of the Bands after they kidnap Joanna and... what's the other princess's name? I don't remember. So then, like, Battle of the Bands is going on, and then there's the big epic battle scene. You have human Bill and Ted, you have Robot Bill and Ted, Evil Bill and Ted, and then you have good Robot Bill and Ted, all fighting each other at this wonderful time, and then the main villain himself comes to the present and tries to face Bill and Ted, but they all play time booth trickery on each other, and then eventually they realize that Bill and Ted wins. So then Ted's dad actually arrests the bad guy. That was pretty cool. And then Bill and Ted actually go into the future a bit, come back with 2 kids on the backs of them, with their wives, the princesses, to learn how to play their instruments. So then they all play their instruments because the bad guy hacked into the world's satellite. So everyone's TV is now focused on the Battle of the Bands. And this is how Bill and Ted change the world, right? So Bill introduces his young son, Ted, and Ted introduces his young son, Bill. Adorable. The princesses take the babies away, Bill and Ted play their instruments, the world is watching, and then the very end credits shows different headlines on newspapers, like Bill and Ted tour Middle East, pieces achieved, you know, things like that. So what's interesting about this, and I love the costuming too, is we know that Bill and Ted create a song, and their song changes the world. Their Wild Stallions song, Wild Stallions, changes the world. And peace is brought, and this new society is developed because of it. So, with Bill and Ted 3, Bill and Ted Face the Music, there's a storm currently. The trailer shows us that Bill and Ted have 2 daughters, Thea and Billy, okay? So what happened to young Ted and young Bill that we were introduced in 1991? Are they away somewhere? Like, what's going on? Or is that whole timeline going to be erased somehow? I'm very curious on that. And then we also know that Bill and Ted still have not made the song that changes the world. But how's that possible when... That was loud. How's that possible when at the end of 2 we see the headlines that, you know, peace was achieved and, you know, changing this and changing that. So I'm curious how the explanations are going to come into effect. I'm sure there's going to be a little time jump thing of going back in time, probably to the Battle of the Bands. I don't know, to be honest. I will see. That's the next movie we're going to talk about, so we'll stay posted. But I have questions. I have concerns, because I love Bill and Ted. They are my original buddy comedy duo. Like, I compare every other buddy comedy duo movie to Bill and Ted. Those are, like, the first buddy comedy movies I've seen when I was younger. So, like, to compare them, incredible. Incredible! Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, 1991 cult classic film. I want the wardrobes. I like the gray wardrobes too. Those are pretty neat. That's all I got. Stay safe, everyone. Wear your mask when you're out in public. 6 feet apart. Wash your hands. 20 seconds of lather. Thank you. Mucho mahalo.